Hi, everybody. Welcome to a new episode of your Frederick podcast. Actually, the first episode of 2024. Welcome aboard. Thanks for having you around here with me. That's a good and great and magnificent pleasure once again. Thank you so very much. Let us make 2024 a blissful and full of blessings year. All right, so let's go without further ado. What is it that we're gonna talk about today? You might be asking yourself. You're totally not asking yourself because you read the title of this episode. But anyways, let me just say that. Let me just start off with a different word that is not on the title. That is the word drive. Okay. You probably know this word as driving, like driving a car, for example, conducting something, conducting something, especially machines, driving vehicles. But in this case, I tell you that this word is usually used in a different connotation. That is, drive as motivation. So if someone by any chances asks, what is your drive on something or about something or related to something, they're talking about that, energy to do something, energy to pursue goals, and things you want to do, and targets you want to achieve. All right, so that's it. So what is your drive? Or in other words, what are your drives in 2024? I mean, I talked about it in the past episodes, the end of year episodes, about the resolutions, the missions, you call them, however you feel like calling them. But anyways, in order to achieve your goals, right, your resolutions, you have to have energy. You have to have a motivation. Okay, that's in the title, motivation. So, what is your drive to going after not only the New Year's resolutions, but like all-time resolutions you have in your life? Say, for example, be fluent, be 100% fluent in English, all right? Not only being able to understand what Gary is saying on a podcast or anyone else is saying on a podcast, but also being able to effectively communicate with people. Well, this is a hell of a target, I would say, right? And just like any other targets, just like any other resolutions, it requires motivation. It requires a drive, okay? So let's talk about it. All right, so tip number one, according to me, okay, guys, this time we had no involvement of a chat GPT. The first word of advice I would like to respectfully bring to you in order to enhance your motivation, bring to you more energy and motivation, to do things you want to do, is the so-called keep it real. Okay, this is a kind of a hip-hop mantra, I would say, but or even more ghetto mantra. But anyways, keep it real. Okay, to be honest, I never lived in the ghetto in America. I just heard this expression from hip-hop songs, so I don't know 100%. I'm not 100% sure about the meaning, the deep meaning of this expression, but I would say like keep it real, like just literally keep it real. For example, it's totally not worth to try achieving something like totally out of your limits, Say, for example, you never studied English before, you know zero, which is totally not your case because you can understand me right now, at least 50%, or otherwise you wouldn't be here, I guess. Anyways, but if you, like, someone does not know English at all, and this person want to learn, for example, English in 1 week or even in a month, right? That's I don't like saying like things are impossible because there are so many different types of people, so many different kind of people, but it's totally undoable, totally unlikely to happen. Okay, if a student of mine would say like, hey teacher, I want to learn it in a month or even in a week, I would just go like break it, the real. break it as a real thing to him or her. Like, it's impossible. All right. Maybe it's not really impossible if we just, strain around the world, if we just go after, people, but it's like exception of the exception of the exception, like someone totally out of the curve, someone totally exceptional to do something like that. In a week, I would say it's impossible, maybe not impossible to just write a few phrases and impress people around you, okay, with a good pronunciation, and then people ask you, oh, hey, how long you've been studying English? Oh, yeah, for a week, that's something. But like being really fluent, in a month, I heard Mormons do that in 1 or 2 months. But anyways, I'll keep it all in the impossible to do list, or at least something undoable. Like, hey, you're gonna quit your job and like stop doing whatever it is that you're doing just to be 24 hours a day studying English. That doesn't sound, like a good idea in my opinion. I wouldn't totally recommend a student to do that, no matter how necessary it would be. I would just say to him or her, like, hey, take this, like, cancel whatever it is that it will require you fluent in English in 1 week from now or 1 or 2 months from now. Cancel, call them off, feel the pain of calling off those, commitments, opportunities, whatever. Take this pain as like something to go like, hey, you should have started before, but don't just disgrace yourself trying to do this. I'm even getting out of the main point here, like, but by keeping it real, like, have real goals, like 1 year. It's a good goal, to be fluent in English. It's not easy. I'm not saying it is easy. I'm not saying anyone can do that. It will require hard work. It will require renouncing. It's kind of a strong word, but that cuts it just perfectly. People don't like to talk about it. People don't even stop to think and consider that in order to achieve something, it will, no matter what, it will require multiple renouncings, multiple things. You have multiple occasions that you have to say no to things you wouldn't, naturally say no to, for example, parties, or even sleeping more, I don't know, relaxing with your family at the end of the day, I'm not saying that in order to achieve something you have to renounce everything, but I'm saying you have inevitably, no matter what we're talking about here, but in order to achieve something that the majority of people don't, let's put it this way, you will have to renounce a lot of things. Which are these things or those things? I don't know. You tell me, okay? But that's a reality, okay? So that's my point about keeping things real. Don't romanticize, achieving a goal. It doesn't work like that. You will be excited the first day, maybe even the first week, but there will be a time where it will be boring. Put it this way, knowing is quite fun, totally fun. I just love coming here, turning my microphone on here, my computer on, and just, say the word to you guys. That's cool. If that can be used as any kind of a motivational thing, that's it, okay? It's just fun, it's just nice, I just love it. But learning, sitting down, open a book or computer, renouncing that moment in which you would be like, I don't know, exercising, chit-chatting with your family, making coffee, eating something, or even just totally relaxing in order to do something like something that requires hard work, like studying. It's not as exciting as it seems at the beginning. Okay, so don't romanticize your target. Okay, be conscious about the whole process. Okay, as much as you can. For example, you want to learn English. Okay, talk to people, friends of yours preferably, or people you trust, or people that will tell you something about it. Will share something with you. Like, what is the process like? What is the journey like? So what will I have to do in order to get there? What are the pros, the cons, things like that. Okay, keep it real, have a real goal, and have real expectations about it. Okay, the second word of advice here is don't overload yourself. Okay, all right, I just said that if you want to be fluent in English in 1 year, it will require from you lots of renouncings, lots of things you have to cut off, so to say, from your schedule in order to fit the new activities related to your goal, into your schedule. Yeah, I just said that, but I didn't say at any moment, and I will never say that you should be overloading yourself. Okay, you should be doing much more than the healthy line. Let me put it this way. Okay, no. As I said before, talk to people who've been there, who've done that, as they say, people who've learned English, for example, in this case, and ask them, how much, how many hours every day should I dedicate, and then just have it as a goal, I will do this for X minutes, hours, whatever, during every day, or from Monday to Saturday, I will take the day off on Sunday, Honestly, I don't recommend taking days off, but if you just feel like you need a day off, if it's one day off, not 2 or 3 days off, of course, during the week, go for it, okay? But I don't particularly recommend that, okay? But you get my point, the point here is just like, don't do more than you can, okay? Because that's the simplest recipe to frustration, okay? You will get to a point where you will be overloaded, life will still be there, things will still be going on, and then you're gonna look around and go like, what am I doing? Why am I doing that? Is it something that worth my time? Even if it is worth your attention, it is something worth your renouncements, as I said before. I don't even know if that's a word, but you get my point. Even if the goal is, and probably it will be, but if you're frustrated, you won't care. You will go like, hey, I'm killing myself in the process, physically or mentally, So make sure that that won't happen by tracking the whole journey before. I'll talk more about it in a few minutes. Okay, the next word of advice is don't underestimate yourself. Okay, when you set your plans, your goals, your plans to get to your goals, your targets, be that in this case reach perfect, quote unquote perfect fluency in English, make sure you know what you can do, right? Don't get stuck in the so-called comfort zone. Okay, make sure you do more and more every day. Okay, that's the simplest way to say that, but it can be done in other formats too. But like, for example, you start like, I will start 5 minutes per day, dedicating myself, to whatever it is, and then this will progressively be growing this time. Okay, for example, every week I will add 5 more minutes. So this week 5 minutes every day, the next week 10 minutes every day, the next 20 minutes every day, 40 minutes every day. Of course, not infinitely, but until you get to a point where you go like, hey, this is cool, like 1 hour or 1.5 hours, I don't know. But don't underestimate yourself. Don't just like, hey, I can do this. No, you can do. You will do, in order to, if you stay committed, you will get there. That's what I'm trying to say. So never underestimate yourself, okay? Don't overestimate, but preferably don't underestimate yourself either. Okay, take baby steps if necessary, okay? What is the concept of baby steps? I think it speaks, by itself. It's kind of easy to picture the meaning of baby steps. Go little by little, if necessary. That's my point here, okay? Don't just baby step. Don't just take baby steps to everything. Don't make this a habit. Every time you set up a new a new plan, in order to achieve some goal. But when you see that this is really hard, okay, this is the importance of understanding it, keeping it real, as I said before. Make sure you will just just know exactly where you're going to, how hard the target is. Because when we talk about targets, when we talk about goals, we're not only talking about totally hard things, unachievable things. No, sometimes we're talking about things that are achievable. For example, learning how learning more about Excel, for example, like PDF and Excel, basically formulas and everything. This is something not easy, but it's not a brainer, as they say, right? You can do that. You just need to adjust some time and put some minutes into it. Okay, so that's it. Baby steps only if necessary, but it's not anything to feel embarrassed about or ashamed of. That's totally cool. Don't make this into a habit, but don't avoid it. Use it whenever you feel you need to use it. All right, and then go progressively, increasing the time, the energy, the intensity of the whatever it is that you're doing. Okay. Track the path. This is the other word of advice, okay? Make sure you know where you're going to. I kind of said that before. Talk to someone, preferably someone who's been there, who's done that, and make sure you know where you're going. Like, hey, first, for example, according to my friends, I will have to just study. Once grammar is no longer a mystery. When I get to open a book or something, I just don't understand everything because of vocabulary, not because of grammar. That's an excellent way to make sure you're okay with grammar. Parenthesis, you're always learning new things, okay? Especially if you're a curious person, but the basic is the basic, okay? You just everyone gets there, So how to know you've already gotten there? When you open a book and your problem are new words, vocabulary, not grammar, okay? I don't know if I have helped by saying it, but that's how I do in the process, okay? So track the path. Make sure, as I said, hey, until a certain point, I'll be just focusing into grammar. And then from that point, I'll be focusing more into vocabulary. And then after a certain point, I'll be putting more efforts into perfecting, if that's even a verb, to making perfect my pronunciation. Okay, and quite importantly to be said here about it is that you're not always doing it exactly as you planned out before. Okay, most of the times the path will be different. Okay, 99% of the time. Okay, and that's cool. That's fine. That doesn't mean you're not doing a good job. Okay, or you're not giving your best into it. Provided that it is going into the direction. Okay, providing you're moving towards your target, and you will know that better than anyone else, better than me, better than anyone. That's fine. That's it. You're in the good way. Put it on a paper if necessary. Okay, write it down. Okay, write it on a notebook, on a spreadsheet. I don't know how you work these things out, but draw it if necessary. Okay, but it's satisfying visualizing the path. Once you do that, you will understand what I'm talking about. All right, the next word of advice here is try to, okay, let me stress it out. Try not to listen to the others, okay? Lovers or haters, all right? Because, well, if there's one thing that people do well is giving you false feedback, okay? For good or for bad, as I like to say. Some people go like, your friends will go like, hey man, you're just rocking. Maybe they're gonna make fun, like especially if you're a boy, if you're a man. But that's okay. That's just a joke, all right? But deep down, like talking seriously, they're gonna go like, "Hey, man, you're doing a great job. That's it, man. You're talented." And that's cool, like take this as a sign of a gratitude, of a love, respect, and care. But don't believe it 100%. Don't let these positive, quote unquote, positive comments lead you or trap you into the comfort zone. All right. Okay, thank them, but just try to go humble. Try to act humbly, like, hey, thank you. I know you love me. I love you too, bro, or sis. But just keep your feet on the ground. Keep your feet on the ground. That's the best thing you do. And on the other side, the haters. Needless to say that you just should not pay attention to them at all. If you're a perfectionist person, okay, if you have like a strong heart, so to say, it's interesting listening to some haters, to some hating comments, to see if perhaps there's something that you should take into consideration, okay? Most of the times, there won't be anything worth your attention, but sometimes, yeah, okay? So my first word of advice is do not pay attention to it at all, okay? To the haters at all. And to the lovers, okay, you won't avoid your friends, your family, okay? Don't let it, quote unquote, contaminate your, drive, okay? Make sure you're doing your best and try not to listen to what others say too much. I say try because I think it's virtually impossible not to pay attention to listen to, people around you, lovers or haters are saying. And last but not least, don't compare yourself to others, okay? I'm not gonna say try not to compare yourself. No, I'm gonna say don't compare yourself to others, okay? This is kind of cliche, but I have to say, the only one you're fighting against is yourself, okay? So take yourself as reference. Don't take your cousin, your friends, people on the internet, especially these ones, okay? Everyone is individually different, okay? Needless to say that, but don't do that, okay? Just don't do that. I'm gonna say much because this is something that doesn't require much explanation, all right? And this is it for this episode, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so very much for your lovely company, just as usual. Here, Gary, your boy, host for the day. See you in the next episode. Bye-bye.